So basically, The Deer Hunter was came out in, I believe, 1978, and it stars Robert De Niro and Christopher Walken, and I believe it's directed by Michael Cimino or Cimino, something like that. And the film basically is about Vietnam, but it's so much more about Vietnam, you guys. The first half of this movie, or at least the first 45 minutes, takes place all in this small town. And all the characters, they're just kind of introducing you to characters. And a lot of people I've heard when they watch this film kind of just decide to shut it off in the first 45 minutes because the first 45 minutes kind of is slow paced. But it's slow paced for the right reasons, you guys. It's slow paced because they're building the characters, and they're building, as far as character development goes, the characters, so then when they go to Vietnam, it's actually impacting. So the first half of the film kind of goes about them deer hunting and things like that, and showing them drinking and partying, and a couple of them get married and stuff like that. And they introduce all these characters. Meryl Streep's also in the film. This is one of her first movies she was in. And it might have even been her first. I'm not 100% sure on that. But Robert De Niro in this movie is incredible. Almost as good, though, as Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken just blew me away because I've seen him in a ton of films, obviously, but The Deer Hunter was the first film that I watched with him where I really went, this guy is an incredible actor. Because some films, Christopher Walken really just plays Christopher Walken, right? He's kind of got the same, persona in a lot of films. And in this film, he's so not Christopher Walken. He's like another person. And that means, it just, the fact that in case he becomes the character is really, really great. Obviously, Robert De Niro is incredible in just almost everything he's in from the 70s. I would just say everything from the 70s. I mean, Robert De Niro is my favorite actor of all time. No matter how many bad movies he makes nowadays, he'll still always be my favorite actor. One of my favorite films is Taxi Driver, and of course, The Godfather. Godfather Part 2 and Raging Bull. He's just incredible. And back in the 70s was really the time where he was just one role after the other, man. He would just become the characters. He was one of the first few method actors with Marlon Brando way back when and stuff. And he would just become the character. And this movie, of course, he does exactly that. Most of this film follows Robert De Niro, but it's really more about Christopher Walken's character. Basically what happens is once they get to Vietnam, they kind of get spread apart in kind of situations because of the draft and everything that happened there. And there's this one scene, and if you guys have seen Deer Hunter, you know the scene, the Russian roulette scene between Christopher Walken and Robert De Niro. And it is probably one of the most tense and incredible scenes ever put to film, you guys. I don't recommend you look it up. If you have not seen The Deer Hunter, you should just watch it. And if you're kind of not into slow-paced movies, especially in the beginning, I recommend so much, you guys, that you just hold on for the 45 minutes of the beginning, because once you get into the Vietnam side of the story, it is incredible. And this film is not the best Vietnam film ever made. I prefer Apocalypse Now and Full Metal Jacket to Deer Hunter, but Deer Hunter definitely, of the three, has the best character development. And it was one of those films when I first watched it that really made me want to be a filmmaker. I watched it a decent amount of years ago, and I just rewatched it again today, of course, for this review. And I feel like no matter now watching this film now, I have a different view of it than I did back then. And I love films that are like that, you guys. I love films where you can watch them, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, and rewatch them and get a different point of view or get a different feeling from the film when you grow older, and this is one of those films. So with that said, you guys, I love The Deer Hunter. I would give it a 9 out of 10. It is an incredible film. If you guys have not seen The Deer Hunter, I highly recommend you sit down and watch it. Like I said, the first half of it is kind of slow, but I'd recommend that you hold on because it's fully worth it, you guys. All the characters in the film are incredible characters. You feel for them every step of the way. This movie is very brutal. but it's brutal for the right reasons. So thank you again, you guys. Thank you so much for sharing this out. I'll have another film review for you guys tomorrow. Don't know which film yet. If you guys want to recommend me films, you could shoot me a message on Facebook, facebook.com/Galv, GHALV, and I'll try to watch whatever films you guys recommend to me. Thank you, I Am the Lady Boss, for recommending The Deer Hunter. It's an incredible film. Can't wait to watch another film and review it for you guys tomorrow. Thank you again, guys. See you tomorrow.